Well, hello everyone. Here to share the Heidelberg restaurant menus coloring activity right here. Is I went ahead and drew a picture right here. Of course, it's like that right here. Is they see the Heidelberg restaurant is most of us who live in in the Missouri area. It's like in between Columbia and Jefferson City. It is of knowing about the Heidelberg restaurant. It is, and about location would be at about. See right here. I think that will be I think 8th Street or something like that. For where it's located, and knowing about that that you have right here is like for the Heidelberg restaurant menus. It's like I can remember some portions, of course, of the restaurant, but on the other hand, of knowing about it was like with the menus. With most of us, when we think about like I went ahead and I picked this restaurant of knowing about that. I can remember that my family and I, of course, we went to Shakespeare's. If I can remember, it was Shakespeare's Pizza. It was those couple years ago, and I know that last time I had Shakespeare's Pizza, I guess, was pretty good also. But it's like that knowing about compared to other pizza places, I'm sure anybody else have been to that you talk like for Emo's Pizza it is. But basically talk about with menus. So if most out of all the restaurants, of course, that I've been to, that more likely that I could probably say about like with the Heidelberg restaurant that was one place, of course, that I've only been to once or twice, and on the other hand too, that knowing about is like that so far as you keep thinking about have I been to this restaurant before, and anybody may be thinking about that the name may sound familiar, but then you may not know if you've ever been to it. And then on the other hand too, for what's on the menus, a lot of times for what's for what they serve on the menus a lot of times. And if anybody were to ask me if I ever had like what you calls like maybe clam chowder, New England clam chowder, I'm like, yeah, but have you ever had it served like what it says for French for cantoli fried onion rings or something like that, or if it's like anything related to that cabbages or anything like that, anything that more likely that they may serve on the menus. And a lot of times I think the Heidelberg will be like you say is for bar and grill, and anybody may be thinking about if you want to go ahead and maybe add like we say a scene of a bar right here in the background. And I'm like, yeah, that of course there's other places. I'm like, here in say Columbia and Jefferson City, it is. It's like in Missouri, it is to where you can actually go at places where you can eat out. It is, but knowing about that, you have right here is like I went ahead and drew right here as an example of say of a bar right here in the background, and there was a place. In St. Charles, of course, that if I can remember, it was called, say Mozark, I think it was. Is that you go in there, and then they had a upper floor, and of course a lower floor it was where they had a bar, and then they also had a restaurant in there. And a lot of times, though, any kids, if they would be walking to like a restaurant like Applebee's, that you would maybe thinking about that you would stay away from the bar and just to hang out in the place where there was the seats and stuff like that, but. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that you go into, whenever you walk into restaurants where there's a bar and then a grill, and that knowing about that maybe at times, that whenever I was much younger, I used to think about if somebody were to take me to a restaurant such as maybe, if it was, you say, Fazoli's, or if it was George's, or something like that. Restaurants, of course, I've been to before that may have gone out of business. I don't know of all of them that may have gone out of business, but like you say, maybe Denny's, or if it's you say Golden Corral or somewhere like that. But knowing about the type of restaurants that you've been to, that knowing about that yeah, you go in there and then you have with for whichever that's on the menu it is, and if you want a sandwich or if it's a salad or a soup, it is. It's like talking about it's like for chicken, or if it's say chicken and say dumpling, it is, but. Chicken dumpling or something like that you would maybe read on the menu it is. And anybody may think about look at the menus and what they have. It is, it's like if they for fries, if they were to serve sandwiches with fries, it is that more likely that about 3 at 92, something like that. If you want extra any pepper or anything like that, any pepper, or say with ketchup, anybody probably think about a lot of times whenever they want their their French fries or something like that, served with ketchup it is. But anyway, whenever I went to the Heidelberg, I can remember one time whenever I went there, of course, to say that, went there with, say, family, and, with my family is like that about 2 or 3 times went there, and, I can remember that we went there for a drink and if I can remember right, that, I think, I had, asked for a Coke. I think it was a Coca-Cola, or if it was a Dr. Pepper, because we went there just for a drink, because we were only there for, if anything, for only about 10 minutes at the most, because it was we were just there making it quick, and of course having a family visit and that knowing about with this drink right here, that knowing about that I'm not talking about, like, the bar, to where that if you ask for a drink, and then more likely that, especially maybe at the bar, I hear people say that if you ask for a Pepsi, or if it's a slice or anything like that, any type of soda, and then they may add maybe some, an alcoholic type drink to it. It is, but basically that I can remember going to the Heidelberg restaurant for a drink and I can go ahead and add a straw, if I can remember right, that there was a straw, a straw as well, that was in a drink, and all right, there's a straw, and anybody maybe think about, try to draw a straw, is just to do, like, say, little dots it is, with the marker it is, but anyway, that you have right here is like for a drink it is, and that knowing about that I took a few sips of it, and then talking, and it's like that, if we were to go to a restaurant one of these days and find out, I'm like, for what's on the menu it is. And a lot of times anybody may be thinking about that I don't think I've had that before. Spaghetti with Corzano cheese or something like that, or maybe, the Semprino taco or something like that, or the tango, the talo dish or something like that. That the things, of course, that they may serve on the menu it is. And, knowing about with other food products that a lot of times the name may sound familiar. If anybody, but I think about that, with good cooks, if you got a good cook, back there in the kitchen, to where that they cook, real nicely it is. And but on the other hand too, that knowing about, I'm sure anybody maybe can remember that the last time I went to the Heidelberg restaurant, of course, that was before it was burnt down. It was, and then they rebuilt it, and I don't know the whole history about, back in the 1980s and 1970s it was about at the Heidelberg restaurant, but basically, though, that I can remember that they announced it on the radio, and I was like, well, that restaurant, I'm trying to think about it, is that, Heidelberg, that sounds familiar, like, it does sound familiar in some way, but I'm wondering, I think I said it sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've been there, and knowing about that, I can remember that, I took a walk one time, and if I can remember right, that I walked down that street to where that they were talking about the Heidelberg that had gotten burned down. It was, and then I was like, wasn't I just there about a few weeks ago? It was. I'm like, I was just there, eating dinner. It was, having a drink or having a salad with somebody, and then you hear on the news several weeks later that it got burnt down, and so that was kind of a shame of knowing about the things, of course, at places that you've gone to, and I could probably think of a few places, of course, that the family and I went to, that you go there, like Denny's, that you go there, and then you have a nice meal, and then about 5 weeks later you go back there and find out that they've closed their doors, and that they went out of business. It was, and at the time that I can tell anybody here that with most restaurants, like if it's Steak and Shake, or if it's I don't think Steak and Shake is going anywhere, but it's like that. If you've been to Steak and Shake, or if we've been to Denny's, it is that it's that they would have like dessert menus on the menus. It is, and like say if it's Oreo pie, or if it's cheesesteak, the Atemo cheesecake it is, served with say chocolate mustard or anything like that. But one of the reasons why I did this activity is, of course, for memories, and on the other hand too, that knowing about that, I don't know if I really want to draw an example of any food, because more likely it's like, you're making me too hungry, but I'm just drawing some examples right here, and I could probably say that just draw a drink right here, because anybody knows, my art, my artwork, that more likely if I put too much detail in it, then it's going to make it look, real yummy. And then it's like, hey, something that you would maybe see on one of those Dairy Queen commercials. But anyway, but it's like so far with the Heidelberg though, that knowing about is like from the memories from what I remember from the Heidelberg. The last time I've been there was before they got burnt down, and then they wind up rebuilding. If I can remember right, that the one that got burnt down, I think that happened right around the spring or something like that of 2003, something like that. But and then they rebuilt it. About it took them about maybe 5 months, of course, to rebuild it, and then they built a brick one. It was, I think, brick one. And so in a lot of ways, I really don't know a whole lot of information, of course, about the Heidelberg. But basically, though, that the times I've been there, it just seems like from what I know, that anybody maybe think about, they maybe ought to go to the Heidelberg restaurant and maybe look at the menus and stuff, and see what they got. And I could tell anybody here that going to those restaurants, it was those couple years ago, that if they had a bar there, that a lot of times that it was like, for kids that walk into the restaurant, and then knowing about that they have coloring books and stuff like that. Maybe for the kids it is. On the other hand, knowing about is to keep away from the bar, because you're too young for that. It is. So yeah, restaurants I've been to whenever I was very young, it was a lot of times though that anything that was related to alcoholic, or any alcohol type products, it is, of knowing about that especially on the menus though, that they would announce maybe it's the margaritas or anything like that. That they would serve to you, knowing about that they had the type of alcohol type drinks, of course, that they would serve. And I think nowadays with most restaurants that they usually check an ID, of course, before they serve you anything. And I was thinking about if with most restaurants that they're going to check to ask you about that if they usually tell you if you order something such as a salad on the menu, it is, and then you tell them that no onions, or no pickles. I'm allergic to pickles, or I'm allergic to pepper. A lot of people may say that, and knowing about that, with most of the time though, that if you like with anybody, that if there's a dish, of course, on the menu, that more likely that person cannot eat, it is, such as maybe if it's onion, or if it's maybe relish, or anything like that, any cheese. I guess I may have known a few. I knew a few people, of course, a while back who were allergic to cheese. It was, so it would say something like cheese, and then they ask you, say, to leave the cheese out, because I'm like, yep, you're allergic to cheese. It is. And with anybody maybe thinking about if you were to be eating maybe spaghetti, or if it's lasagna, if you're eating lasagna or something like that, well, the cheese may be the best part, of course, of that dish. It is, of that serving. It is, and like knowing about for whatever that they serve, if it's French toast or anything like that. And but it's like a lot of times though that I'm like, that's just something you just can't help, if like you're allergic to it, huh? But anyway, I can maybe right here like draw, see, a lemon on. I'm trying to think here. I don't have a yellow, but say tell anybody that I'm like, I guess a lemon could be, it's a equal amount to say a green, and of course with the yellow type color right here. Draw a lemon right here, but anyway, but you have right here, that you got example right here of a drink. It's like soft drink it was, and knowing about if you're going to walk into a restaurant, and then knowing about that, the prices may be quite a bit, pretty expensive. It is, but so you enjoy the cooking. It is, but on the other hand too, that I could probably tell anybody here as well that I don't know, I don't recommend. It's like I know somebody who works in a restaurant, and like talking about, I don't recommend anybody to walk into a restaurant such as maybe the Heidelberg restaurant, or if it's Papa John's restaurant, any type of restaurant, Chinese restaurant, and then go ahead and say that. Think of trying to trick the cooks and the employees about saying that they found something in the food, or if they it's like talking about they swipe tickets, trying to think of a reason to try and save money, whichever it is. But people may be doing it, people may think about that. They may have been thinking about that, for the past, couple of years now, about knowing about a way to where that, whenever you get a ticket after you eat a meal, it is, after you get a ticket, like you're talking about, after you get a ticket, it is, and then for how much, the meal costs, and, this is the price that you got to pay, etc., it is, and, I'm talking about, such as you say, total amount. The total amount, and then on your hand of knowing about that, maybe the person who assisted you, if you left a tip or something like that, and of course with the taxes as well, and knowing about that, it's like that you walk into the restaurant, and then all of a sudden you just want to think about that you're going to think of excuses by saying that you wanted you wanted extra cheese, of course, on your spaghetti, and you didn't get it. So it's like talking to the manager of the restaurant, whichever it is. But in a lot of ways, I don't think everybody does it. I really think a lot of ways, though, that you go into a restaurant, it is nearly, there may be 50% of the customers, of course, that walk in there and they have a nice meal and have a nice, just hang out, it is, and there may be about maybe 20% that, it's like talking about that they want to go in there and say that they don't like what they ordered, they want something else, it is, or they may try to say that that they don't like the silverware. They don't like the silverware, so that they want a new set. They think that somebody put their mouth up to the spoon, or put their mouth up, of course, to the somebody, this don't look very clean. This don't look very clean, so I'm not paying for the full price of the ticket, it is. And I can remember that this was not at the Hiedleberg restaurant, but this was at Bob Evans. Bob Evans restaurant it was. And I can remember a couple of times that they would bring me a drink. I think I asked for, the drink I asked for was, I think it was, the type of soda that I liked at the time was Coca-Cola, I think it was. So they would bring me out a glass, and then I would find a bug. I'm talking about, that I would find a little fly, of course, in my drink, it was. And I was like, you are so picky. I'm like, you find a bug or whatever you caught inside your drink, go ahead, maybe add some legs, of course, to it as well. But you find something in your drink, it is. And anybody probably think about, if you were looking to the glass, a lot of times you see these bubbles. It's like for so far as carbonated water, it is. It's like talking about anything that you would maybe find in a drink, it is. That you would find something like a bug, or maybe a coffee, something related, any type of dirt products or anything like that. I've known about, this don't look very clean, so I want another glass. And then, so it's happened, but I'm sure it's happened before. They like get you something else if you order something, and then it's like, I'm not very satisfied with this, and knowing about that, if they're really going to bother with calculating about, it's like they ordered this and they weren't very satisfied with it. So it's like, are you going to get them something else, or are you going to say that we're going to have to charge you 20% onto the ticket? It is. I'm knowing about, you didn't like the coffee, you did not like the Breckel biscuit or whatever you want to call it. Like, and hey, that you come to our restaurant to enjoy the food, and then of course for a hangout, it is. But on the other hand, that I'm like, I'm been working at this front, and talking about that, we want to, our goal is to serve you well, and knowing about that, you didn't like the food, and then it's like talking about, it's like tell our, the cooks, it is, to try better next time, it is. But on the other hand, too, knowing about with most of the time with restaurant memories, it is tough to say for the Hiedleberg restaurant menus, it is knowing about going there for a nice meal, it is. And of course, so far as for the neat experience, let's talk about right here. So far as the Hiedleberg restaurant, it's like talk about, say, with the menus coloring.